Thank you for joining me today to share your Team DPF moment of victory. Bob, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, hey, first of all, thanks for having me do this. This is a great time. Should be interesting. I'm Bob Boone. I live in Wisconsin. I was diagnosed with Parkinson's a little over 3 years ago, and I pretty much immediately upon my investigation and research into Parkinson's stumbled across the Davis Phinney Foundation. And I'd actually watched Davis race when he was a racer back in the 80s and 90s, and immediately made a connection there. And so Davis Phinney Foundation has pretty much been my go-to place for information and inspiration and things like that.
And how did you hear about Team DPF becoming a fundraiser?
I think I just ended up hitting it on the web page, found it, and right away I also wanted to try to somehow use the bicycle because I'm an avid cyclist, have been for 5 decades or more. So I wanted to use the bicycle somehow to either raise awareness or raise funds for research and things like that. So as soon as I found that part on the page, I thought, well, this is a way that I can do something to help myself and others with this condition.
And so tell me about which event you participate in and if you participated in this ride prior to being a fundraiser for the Davis Phinney Foundation, or tell me a little bit about that.
So I have done the L Tour to Tucson for 3 years now, and I did not do any fundraising before that. That was my first effort at fundraising. And it turned out because I have a brother who winters in Arizona, not too far from Tucson, we kind of made it a family affair where he and I go down and ride the race or ride the ride and raise. I decided to raise money. And once we did it the first time, then it has kind of become a tradition now. We just do it every year, and it works out really well. It's a fun ride. It's a great place to spend a little time in November when you're from Wisconsin and get away from winter for a little while at least.
Do you have a favorite memory that you'd like to share from your 3 years as part of Team DPF at El Tour de Tucson?
Well, they've all been really enjoyable. It's just been fun to share that with my brother. He's quite a bit older than I am, and he's always lived a long way from where the rest of the family kind of lives. So we don't often get to see him as much. So it's been really nice to share that. But just the ride is beautiful. The people there are so accommodating. It's been fun to meet other people from the Davis Phinney Foundation, other fundraisers at the social event that you guys put on every year. It's been a great experience all around.
Have you encountered any challenges while fundraising?
Well, yeah, I feel like this third year, all my friends were getting maybe kind of tired of me begging for money. I don't know. But I still was able to get, I think, about as much every year as I had the first year, which is I usually raise around $2,000, which I'm pretty happy about. I'd love to raise more, but uh, the challenge I think is there's a lot of organizations out there who need funds, and so you have people like me bugging everybody for money all the time, but you just have to be consistent and be persistent and maybe branch out in some ways that you can try to raise some money.
Yeah, some of my fundraisers will tell me that uh, year after year fundraisers will find that their network will begin to build their fundraising efforts into their annual giving plan. So while
Oh yeah.
some of your donors might seem like they're getting irritated with the ask every year, but some might really appreciate that you're asking again because it's part of their plan. So
True. There are people who have been very generous each and every year, and that I really appreciate that.
I think it's also something, I don't know how much you share in your letters, Bob, but uh, letting people know how you're doing is another
Hmm.
important part of fundraising, at least,
Right.
in this space.
Yeah, I've used social media quite a bit, and I generally share a little bit about where I'm at in my journey. And I think the first time I did that, people were pretty shocked that I had that diagnosis. But it does help that they understand that I'm doing this for not just myself, but a lot of people who have this.
What are the top 3 actions that helped you reach your fundraising goal?
I think social media was a big thing. I put it on Instagram and Facebook. That, reminded a lot of people of what was going on. I've also just, I'm on some text threads and some email threads here and there. So I reach out to those people, reach out to family and friends every year. And I think that's really helpful. Family are obviously going to be as supportive as possible always.
What advice or encouragement do you have for someone that might be interested in fundraising for the foundation?
Well, I would say definitely give it a shot because it's really fun. You meet a lot of great people. I'm sure whatever ride you go on, there's lots of different opportunities. I wouldn't mind trying a different one actually, or another one down the road here. But you meet a lot of great people, whether it's through the Davis Phinney Foundation partnerships or just other people on the road and in the venue. It's really a great time. I would encourage anybody. It's not as hard as it seems, and people are usually pretty generous, and they're open to the idea of supporting an organization like the Davis Phinney Foundation.
And then, Bob, do you have a particular program or resource that we offer that you are most fond of? Maybe that when you encounter other people with Parkinson's, that you share that first.
I usually just point them to the website in general because there's so much good information. I use a lot of the social media posts. I follow you guys obviously, and I just check out articles through there mostly right now. I have the book and all that stuff, and I've gone through that, and that's been incredibly helpful early on. I don't use that quite as much now as I did in the beginning, but I probably will be again someday down the road.
And what's the top thing you do to live well with Parkinson's?
I stay active, number one, I would say. I use the old exercise as medicine adage here, and then I just try to keep a positive attitude. When I first got diagnosed, I had a few weeks of a little emotional roller coaster, and then I kind of looked around me and I thought, there's a lot of people that have things that are worse than what I'm going through right now, and they're handling it. So I can do this. I know it's going to get worse down the road, but at this point in time, it's very manageable, and I know that I can do this, especially with a positive attitude and with an active lifestyle. I think that it helps a lot.
Well, Bob, we sure appreciate you being a part of Team DPF and the difference that you're making for the foundation and other people with Parkinson's that are inspired by our message to live well with Parkinson's today. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.